We are coming to the end of the MMA offseason. We have a UFC card this weekend. I will be giving you my first prediction video of the year tomorrow. But we're going to talk about the 2024 finishes of the year, and then on Thursday we will be dropping the final offseason video, which will be the 2024 fights of the years, counting down the top 25 fights of 2024. But today's about the finishes, and we're going to talk about the best finishes. You've heard me talk about some of these already in other videos, but we're ranking 25 to 1. The number 25 finish of 2024, Montel Jackson over Damon Blackshear. Not sure if you guys remember this, but Montel Jackson was a slight favorite against Damon Blackshear. Dominic Cruz was sitting there on the commentary desk right off the bat saying, guys, pay attention to our boy Montel Jackson. He throws great straight punches right down the middle. And what happens? Straight punch right down the middle, 18 seconds, knocks out Damon Blackshear. That is going to be number 25. Stiff knockout. This is 2024 finishes of the year. So there will be some submissions mixed in here as well. And we're going to move on. The number 24. I might get some hate for this, but it wasn't as flush of a knockout. 24 is Alex Pereira over Jamal Hill. Listen, it was a great knockout. There were a lot of great finishes this year. This just goes to show you how big the list is, how good the list is. But I'm putting this at 24. The left hook sat down Jamal Hill. Didn't knock him out stiff. The ground and pound ended up putting him out cold. But this was a little bit of a weird one because it also came after a nut shot, and then Pereira was able to close the distance, and Jamal Hill lost focus for a second. It was still a great knockout from Alex Pereira. Great way to cap off UFC 300, but as you see, it was a little weird. You had Pereira stepping on the foot of Jamal Hill in order to, and I know he didn't do it on purpose to land the shot, but he did, and it helped him land the shot. Sent Jamal Hill to the canvas. Didn't have him out cold, but landed the ground and pound, and that's what put him out. Putting that one at number 24. Number 23 was Muslim Salikov's spinning back kick against Song Yadong at UFC Macau. This was a sick knockout. Muslim Salikov, at the age of 40, spinning back kick Song Kanan on the main card. I mean, it was sick. It was flush. They were talking about how you have to be careful of Muslim Salikov spinning kicks, and boom, lands a spinning back kick that knocks out Song Kanan at UFC Macau. Great knockout. And just, dude, like, he did it again. Muslim Salikov did it again. Had another spinning back kick knockout. It was over Song Kanan this time, but it was, in his 40s. This guy's still doing it. So, sick knockout. That's going to 23. Number 22, Poirier versus BSD. That right hook was something special. And not only was the right hook something special, but it showed us, like, Dustin was a big underdog in this fight. He's still around. He's still at the top of the game. And he landed a flush right hook knockout to absolutely sleep Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, he knocked him down earlier, and the fight wasn't looking too good for Dustin Poirier. But as that round continued to go on, Poirier was starting to be able to get up from the takedowns a little bit easier, and then he was landing shots in the boxing, able to land a right hook to the body, able to land a straight left hand that sat down BSD for a second. Then they get back up. BSD goes in with his chin on the line, and Poirier just absolutely sits him down with a right hook. Tremendous knockout from Dustin Poirier. Great feel-good moment at UFC 299. And this gave Poirier a title shot. I'd say it's undeserved, but there really wasn't anyone else ready to go with Makhachev for the date that they were looking at. Moving on. DDP submitting Izzy. Guys, I know it was a traditional rear naked choke. We don't get too crazy about rear naked chokes, but this was in a high-level title fight. Back and forth. In the fourth round, they were slugging it out the whole time, and DDP was able to get it to the ground. Not to mention, DDP is the first person to submit Israel Adesanya, so that does matter. Izzy's fought a lot of guys at the top, and DDP was the first one to be able to submit him. When he got to the ground, he was able to make that transition to the back, which Izzy does give up a lot. But Dricus is a finisher, man. He's going to go for that choke, and he locked it in. Great submission from Dricus du Plessis in a high-pressure, high-level situation, in a high-level fight, title fight, in just one of the rivalries of the year. So DDP's submission over Izzy gets number 21 on the finish list of the year. Moving on. Gabriel Fernandez versus Wayne Kong. Now, I know you guys are going to go, what, dude? Why? Because it was so unexpected. This was my upset of the year in the MMA awards. This was not supposed to happen. They were trying to give Wayne Kong someone that she could just KO in a minute. Well, Gabriela Fernandez did not. She may have dropped the first round, But round two comes around. Not only was this a submission, but she sat down Wayne Kong with a big left hand or right hand. She knocked down Wayne Kong, almost knocked her out with it, but immediately, with speed, jumped on the back, had the transition super quick, locked in the choke, and put Wayne Kong to sleep. Once the ref pulled her off, Wayne Kong was literally face first in the canvas sleeping. This is going to go to number 20. I understand that this may have not been the most high-pressure situation in terms of all fights in MMA this year. But, like, dude, this was one of the prospects that we were super excited about in the women's divisions. And she got submitted by a massive underdog here after getting knocked down. So Fernandez is going in the 20 spot. Deal with it, buddy. It's my list. 19, Hyder Emil versus Jung Young Lee. Bro, I don't know if you remember this. This was one of the highest pitch moments. This may be the second highest pitch I've ever heard DC screaming. Hyder Emil, within a minute, landed a 40-punch combination that knocked out Jung Young Lee. It was absolutely insane, and the whole time, DC's going, oh my God, oh my God. Last time I fucking heard him sound like a bird was Matt Schnell versus Suma Derji, when that fight was going crazy back and forth. This fight was literally a minute long, and Hyder Emil landed an insane amount of strikes, insane combination, just sitting down Jung Young Lee and ended up getting the knockout. This was insane. I remember watching this just being like, these dudes are literally slugging it out the whole fight. And it ends in a minute because Hyder Emil just actually didn't stop throwing until Jung Young Lee was asleep. So, sick knockout from Hyder Emil. He gets number 19 here. I highly recommend you take a minute to go watch this fight because it was fucking hilarious listening to DC screech. But it was a sick, sick combination knockout. I am sorry. I am screaming. I will stop. Third, I think this will be the third finish from this card that I'm bringing up here. Was it Macau? Third finish from the UFC Macau card. This is how you know it was a sick card. Shai Ming. Dude, Shai Ming almost killed another woman in the octagon. She was losing the fight 2-0 against Fang Xiaocan. Surprised I got that one right. And then just literally chucks a head kick up and leaves her asleep in the octagon. Left her asleep for like 5 minutes. She could not move. Poor Shai Ming, the camera goes on her and she's sitting there in the corner because she's a doctor too, so she has genuine concern now. And she just sits there and just kind of like Jim Halpert's the camera where she's like, I did that. Yeah, like she left her unconscious in the canvas, won herself a contract on it. This was one of the KOs of the year. Sick high kick and just flatlined Fang Xiaocan. So this is going at the 18 spot, man. This could be higher, honestly. This really could be higher. But at 17, this was just a feel-good KO. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess. It was in a main event, and every single person on God's green earth was happy watching this KO. If you guessed it right, kudos, leave a comment, because it was Robert Whittaker against Ikram Aliskerov. I talk about this fight all the time and this knockout all the time because it's just like such a feel-good moment. Like seeing Robert Whittaker be able to go get a first-round knockout and not take any damage is just like the greatest thing on earth for me. Dude, it was a sick knockout. Not to mention, he had set it up beautifully with... And he took the opponent on short notice, and kudos to Ikram for taking it on short notice, but he showed levels in this fight. This Robert Whittaker would have had a better chance. Now I don't know if he would have won, but this is the Robert Whittaker that I thought would have had a better chance against Khamzat Chimaev, but who knows? Maybe he was just as locked in for the... He probably was just as locked in, dude. I get it. I'm coping. I know, dude. I just wanted Whittaker to fucking go on a title run again. Hamzat's got to ruin everything for me. Robert Whittaker, sick knockout here over Ikram. He feints a 1-2, sees what Ikram does with his hands, where he like throws a kick and drops his left hand. Then he actually throws it, gets Ikram wobbled, throws a 1-2 head kick that barely glances off Ikram, then gets Ikram against the cage and just throws a beautiful uppercut that sits down Ikram Aliskerov. First round knockout for Robert Whittaker. You knew it was going to be on this list. You guys know that I'm a big Robert Whittaker guy. At number 17, Whittaker's first round knockout over Ikram Aliskerov for the finish of the year. Now, number 16. Nothing fancy happened in this next knockout. But this was the most unconscious I've ever seen someone in the octagon. It's always so goofy with Johnny Walker, dude. I feel like bad. It's always such a goofy KO. I mean, we knew Vulcan had nukes in his hands. Not only did he have nukes in his hands to sit Johnny Walker down, put him on his ass, but he's like sitting there knocked out. Ref's not stopping it, and Vulcan sends one more for good measure, and it just puts Johnny Walker into this position on the ground here. Now, I do feel bad laughing, but it is funny that every single time he gets hit, he goes unconscious in the goofiest, flailiest, insane way possible. It's literally going to happen. I'm picking Bogdan Guskov to knock him out because, like, I mean, a fucking gust of wind might do it at this point, but this KO was a sick knockout, a violent knockout, and Johnny Walker just went right to the canvas and then ate an unnecessary shot that put him in the most KO'd position I've ever seen. This is number 16 on the list, not because anything fancy happened, but because of how Johnny Walker went out. This was goofier than Jamal Hill knocking him out, dude. Dead ass. It's just goofy as hell. Moving on to number 15. Bruno Ferreira's spinning elbow over Dustin Stoltzfus. Now, the only reason this isn't higher because the technique is unique and it's very good. The only reason it's not higher is because Stoltzfus was still kind of standing and the ref jumped in because they had seen him just take enough punishment. But this was a back and forth fight. And Ferreira just landed that big shot at the end that made everyone go, oh my god, it's over. And it was a spinning elbow that knocked out Dustin Stoltzfus. This was sick. You can see the picture here. It was such a cool KO. So it's going in the 15 spot. Bruno Ferreira's a fucking powerhouse, dude. He's a guy that, I mean, I get it. Like, he's not the most technical MMA fighter. He's not the best MMA fighter. But this guy has the ability to knock anybody out. So keep an eye on this Bruno Ferreira knocking out, like, with crazy. If you see him as a big underdog in anything, it's worth taking him because he does have the fucking power of the Hulk. That's why his name is the Hulk, Bruno Ferreira. But holy shit, this was a sick knockout. Highly recommend you go watch it. It was UFC Louisville, Cannonier versus Imavov, if you want to look it up. Number 14 was Dustin Jacoby on UFC Tampa. Dude, this was such a crazy KO because all night people had been getting left stiff in the octagon. This was an insane card of finishes. And then this fight comes on and you're like, dude, this is the slowest, most boring, ugly shit fight ever. Oh my god, Dustin Jacoby just killed him. And like that's literally how it went. Jacoby threw a Kamaru Usman 2 and just sent Vitor Petrino to the ground like Jorge Masvidal went down. This was literally a replica of Masvidal Usman 2. It was a sick KO. He was a massive underdog in this fight. And he landed the perfect shot to knock out Vitor Petrino. So this is going at 14. The situation that had happened in 2, like this was right after this was right before Manel Kape's star-studded performance. Right after, I want to say maybe Navajo Sterling's great performance. So this was a really, really good, this was after, I don't know who it was. I think it was Navajo Sterling. Could have been someone else, but I think it was Navajo Sterling. But this was a sick knockout, dude. He just put him out cold with a right hand, clean, right down the middle. This was a good one. Highly recommend UFC Tampa if you want to watch it. Skip to the third round because the first 2 rounds really do suck. Just skip to the third round and you'll see the knockout. Uros Medic against Tim Means. This was a actually picture-perfect uppercut. I get it was Tim Means, not the highest level. He's a crafty vet. He's no Jack Hermanson crafty vet, but this is, not the highest level of competition, but the uppercut was beautiful. It was literally perfect. Perfect uppercut Uros Medic landed and just knocked out Tim Means cold. It's going in the 13th spot for that because it was one of the only uppercut KOs that we had seen this year other than, Whitaker. This was a flush KO from an uppercut, perfectly timed, perfectly set up, and just flatlined Tim Means. So that's going at 13. Uros Medic versus Tim Means. This was on an Apex card, I believe. Can't pick. No, it wasn't. Which crowd was this in front of? Maybe St. Louis. Or Louisville. This could have been Louisville or St. Louis. I think that's what we were looking at here, but check out either of those two if you want to see it. Great knockout. Uros Medic against Tim Means. Moving on to number 12. Ilya versus Volk. Guys, these are where the knockouts get to be super high level, super crazy. Like, dude, this was a right hand that would have knocked out John Jones, I'm convinced. Like, this right hand literally knocks out anybody. You send Thanos down, you put Ilya Taporia up and let him land that combination that he landed against Volk, because it put anybody out cold. And we've seen it's not just Volk not having a chin. That fucking right hand puts any person on God's green earth out cold. You can't convince me otherwise. Beautifully set up combination, and just the animation of Volk going down into the canvas was terrifying to see, sad to see, but Ilya put him out cold. Not to mention, this is the highest level opponent of anyone on the list that got knocked out. Volk is the best fighter on this list, and it's him getting KO'd. That matters. Ilya's going to the 12 spot. The only reason it's not higher is because he was coming off the KO to Makhachev, which I don't think actually mattered that much in this fight, because again, that specific right hand, if it was like a glancing shot that KO'd Volk, I would have said, okay, that's different. But it wasn't. It was the picture-perfect right hand. It's going lower, though, just because it wasn't a crazy type of technique. And number 11, the wife beater himself, the old man beater himself, the pregnant hit-and-run guy himself, this was a good knockout. The only reason it's not higher is because it's coming up against a 42-year-old retired firefighter. But, I mean, the technique was fantastic. Picture-perfect, spinning back kick to the body, absolutely crumbled Stipe. It was a good knockout. It was a really, really good knockout. That's why it's here at number 11. You know how I feel about Jon Jones. I would look for any reason to not put him on a list, but it's a great knockout. I can't take anything away from him. It was a really good knockout. Very good technique. The only thing that doesn't get it going higher is the fact that it was not against a fighter under the age of 40, 41, 42. So that's the only thing, is like that spinning back kick to the body could shut a lot of people off. But I just think, a guy that hasn't been conditioning his body, he's 42, he's taken a beating in his lifetime. Yeah, that's why it's at 11. But great knockout from Jon Jones. It really was. This was unbelievable. UFC Tampa could literally have every single knockout on this list. It literally could. But Michael Johnson, Otman Azaitar. Sorry, I was quenching my thirst. Dude, these guys are swinging leather for a round and a half. And you could just sit there and you say, dude, he's going to get knocked out. Azaitar's going to get knocked out. He's just sitting there in the pocket. Michael Johnson lands a clean right hand that sits him down and knocks him out. Now, that's not why this is number 10 on the list. The reason why this is number 10 on the list is because Azaitar is clearly unconscious from the right hook that put him to the ground. Unconscious. Not just he got sat down, he's out. He was unconscious, flatlined. And what does Michael Johnson do? Two super necessary bing, bing, and you just see, Azaitar's head go, duh, duh. It was nuts. Sick knockout. Michael Johnson goes to the 10 spot here. We go to number 9. Fereziam's KO over Matt Frivola. This could honestly go higher. It was a sick knee. Set the crowd going crazy. He was out cold. He was out for a long time. Picture perfect clinch knee to the fucking mouth that just knocked him out cold. Great KO from Fereziam. This is sitting here at number 9. Listen, I just think the ones ahead of it are a little bit better, but this is, again, it's a top 10 knockout of the year, top 10 finish of the year, not just knockout. So bear with me. The ones that are above this are just in higher pressure situations, so bear with me here. We're going to number 8. Okay, so I know I talked about how good the knee was from Fereziam, but this one was better. It was a flying knee where he chased the guy across the octagon and left him flat in the canvas. And it happened so early in the year. This was on the Rosenstrike versus Gaziev card, if you want to watch it. The Ziam one was on the France card. The Johnson one was on the Tampa card. And as you know, Jon Jones was on his own card. But Oliveira was having a good fight with Sopaj. It was actually a really good fight. And then Sopaj just looked away. Oliveira chased him down and just landed a picture-perfect flying knee that left Bernardo Sopaj unconscious in the canvas. You need to see this one. It's a fucking great KO. It's number 8 on the list. And we move on to the number 7 finish of the year. Darce choke from Islam Makhachev over Dustin Poirier. I mean, this is a great submission. Darce chokes aren't always the easiest things to get, but Islam Makhachev has a great Darce choke. He locked it in, and he put Poirier semi to sleep, but Poirier tapped just in time where he would have to let it go. Great submission from Islam Makhachev, and it capped off a fantastic fight. So this is going in the 7th spot. It was really good, dude. This was real, and the technique to get him down, like this is the takedown where he literally just swung Poirier's legs so that way he can jump to like a front headlock, and he got it. It was perfect. Got the Darce in, and it was just beautiful finish. Number 7 goes to Islam Makhachev over Dustin Poirier. Number 6, finish of the year. Pereira's head kick over Yuri. This was beautiful. The reason it's not higher is because I'm convinced Yuri was still unconscious going into round 2. But dude, it's the number 6 finish of the year, something that includes submission. So this is a high-level knockout. This is a high-stakes situation, but it was just one-way traffic from Pereira the whole fight. He already landed the hook in the first round that would have put Yuri unconscious. This was just the icing on the cake through a sick head kick that knocked him out in the first 10 seconds. Switch kick to the head is so nasty. It's number 6. Such a good finish. Going to number 5. This pained me to say, but dude, this was my submission of the year. Excuse me. It was, high-pressure situation, again, against a high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist. Now, Robert Whittaker is a mixed martial artist. He's good at everything. But his jiu-jitsu is very, very good. Khamzat said, I don't give a fuck, brother. I don't give a fuck. I kill everybody, you know? And actually, Khamzat has the utmost respect for Robert Whittaker. He does. How can you not? But he went out there, got him to the ground, and submitted him first round. Not like that. Whittaker did a great job defending, but the second Khamzat got his hands locked up, he busted Robert Whittaker's jaw. Now, people are going to call it a rear naked choke. It's not. It was a fucking face crank that literally broke Robert Whittaker's jaw. It sent his front teeth to the back of his chin. Sick submission, disgusting imagery after. The fucking pictures of Robert Whittaker's teeth were disgusting, my God. But that just showed the sheer strength and power of Khamzat Chimaev. Tremendous performance. Khamzat, man. Goddamn. Before this fight, I would have said DDP beats the fuck out of him easy. I literally said that Robert Whittaker's going to beat him up, but boy, was I wrong. Khamzat's that fucking dude still. Holy shit. We'll see what happens if he can get to round 2. That's the problem. You have to get out of round 1 against Khamzat, which is fucking impossible. Don't know how Usman did it. But this is number 5 in finishes of the year, and I believe the rest are all knockouts, and we're going to go to number 4 right now, and that was Ilia Topuria over Max. Listen, dude, he knocked out a dude that nobody has ever knocked out. Never. Justin Gaethje's the only one that sat him down. And they didn't even call that a knockdown, even though I think it was, but like, dude, this KO was nuts. He landed a big right hand that got Max hurt. Then he started throwing combinations, body, throws another right hand, finishes with a beautiful left hook that puts Max down and knocks him out. So, again, wasn't the craziest technique. It was perfect technique, but it wasn't some kind of wild, crazy technique that you go, oh my God, we've never seen something like that before. But it's at number 4 because we have never seen Max Holloway knocked out before. So that's going to 4. Ilia Topuria in this list twice. Him and Alex Pereira, I believe, are the only ones that are in this list twice. Now we're going to go to number 3. Esteban Ribovics knocking out Terrence McKinney. Dude, he threw a 1-2 head kick like Leon Edwards, but from the other side, and the shin on the chin sent Terrence McKinney right back against the canvas, looking like a combination of Volk and Mateusz Nicolau. And then all of a sudden, was just his face was wincing That was a cold knockout in front of a crowd. If you want to see this one, it was on the St. Louis card. Sick knockout. One of my favorite finishes of the year. Dude, Esteban Ribovics is the fucking man. Fight of the year contender. Knockout of the year contender. This guy's a fucking dog. Always wants to stand and strike and have fun fights. Esteban Ribovics, bro, he's one of my faves right now, bro. He really is. But, this knockout, number 3, finish of the year, Esteban Ribovics, man, it was sick. Number 2, finish of the year was Max Holloway over Justin Gaethje. The greatest moment in MMA history, maybe. This really was insane. Absolute great fight. Not the fight of the year, but great fight going through. And they just, like, dude, this is for the BMF title. This is a high stakes situation. It's on UFC 300 as the people's main event. And they just stand there in the middle, throw down, and at the last second, you've all seen the fucking highlight. You know all of it. You know, everyone watching this video knows this. Max just sleeps him at the last second. Unbelievable knockout. It's going to Max Holloway at 2, but at number 1, I have never seen a double spinning back fist in my life, and it's going to go to Shara Magomedov because of that. It's because the technique was so wild, so crazy. In a fight that was competitive, he lands a double spinning back fist on Armen Petrosyan and knocks him out cold. Shara Magomedov has the finish of the year. It was absolutely crazy, incredible. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. We got the predictions video coming out tomorrow. We have Fight of the Year counting down from 25 to 1 coming out on Thursday. So make sure you tune in. Last video of the offseason will be coming out on Thursday. And then we're back full swing into the UFC grind. We are back, baby. Hope you enjoyed the content. And if you did, please like and subscribe.